Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask unanimous consent to enter a letter from Mr. Troy Newman, a cybersecurity professional with whom I consult, into the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Dodson, how long have you been a cybersecurity advisor for the United States government?
I have worked at NIST since 1987, and I've been the Chief Cybersecurity Advisor for about 4 years.
So you were in place in 2012?
Yes.
You mentioned in one of your responses that the U.S. government is taking cybersecurity and the realm of cyber attack very seriously. Were we taking it very seriously in 2012 when the State Department contracted with Kaspersky?
So the federal government has been working on issues related to supply chain for about 7 years, and we continue to work on our guidelines there as the complexity of our systems continue to grow. There are challenges in understanding all that we have in our networks, but it's necessary to do that. And so our work with the framework to improve critical infrastructure cybersecurity actually provided some opportunities to think about supply chain, to think about resiliency in our networks, so that we can understand cyber threat and respond quickly to those.
So in your opinion, the United States government was taking cybersecurity very seriously in 2012?
I think NIST has been taking cybersecurity seriously for a very long time.
Mr. Chairman, Kaspersky product has over 400 million users nationwide. It's widely known. Kaspersky's ties to the FSB, that's the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation. The FSB is the main successor to the Soviet Union's former KGB. Kaspersky headquarters is headquartered in Moscow in the former KGB headquarter buildings in Lubyanka Square. And yet, in 2012, the United States State Department contracted with Kaspersky. I read from Mr. Newman's letter that I entered into the official record earlier. Many security software users believe that security software is akin to a shield, that this shield wards off would-be attackers. The reality is that security software is more similar to an inoculation, as Mr. Kanuck pointed out earlier. Security software resides deep inside the computers and infrastructure within the very most sensitive and secure areas. In order to install any effective security software, we must first expose the system, making all information vulnerable. The security software has full access to all input and output operations. Security software is fully embedded in such a way that it has complete access to the entire system. Mr. Shive, you're familiar with the end-user license agreement for security?
Yes, I am.
That's the part that most Americans, when we purchase a cybersecurity product, it appears on the screen, and it's a lot of language that we don't read. We just click I agree. Is that correct?
Yes.
The end-user license agreement for Kaspersky systems is governed by the laws of the United States or by the laws of the Russian Federation?
If they're doing business in the United States, it would be governed by the United States.
The end-user license agreement for Kaspersky products, Mr. Chairman, according to my research, are governed by the laws of the Russian Federation. We have certainly begun recently taking cybersecurity very seriously, but I find it alarming that although it was rather well known within the cybersecurity realm that Kaspersky was, posed a particular risk, we continued to do business with them until very recently. Let me just ask quickly, Mr. Shive, are U.S. government employees restricted from using Kaspersky products on their own iDevices at this time?
I can't speak for the entire government. GSA employees are not restricted from...
Are Kaspersky products still allowed to be purchased by U.S. government agencies outside or separate from the GSA contract process?
Not if they're going to comply with the binding operational directive that DHS published.
And my colleague asked earlier, are U.S. government contractors restricted from using Kaspersky products?
Yes, they are, as a result of the binding operational directive.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired. I thank you for your cooperation.